And we're live. It's finally happened. We actually started on time. We always kind of bubble around and start a few minutes late, but we did not want to miss 1 second with Charles, the humble mechanic. So this is who we have today. We've got John Willis, Nicole Sauce, and Charles, the humble mechanic, to talk about just getting your stuff going, starting your small business. He's going to share with us some of his experiences and, you know, the way of the world today. Charles, why don't you tell us first, who is Charles, the humble mechanic? Why would I drag you on this show?
Why would you indeed? That's going to be the question you're asking yourself, but you're not going to ask it that way. You're going to be like, why would I have drug him on this show? So hopefully I can do a good job for you all today. But anyway, thank you guys so much for having me. Super, super hyped. Sitting out here in the shop. The door is closed because we're teetering on pollen season, and I would prefer to not have everything I own covered in that wonderful yellow-green dust. But anyway, my name is Charles. I come from the background of automotive repair. I spent roughly 15 years as a Volkswagen technician at a dealer, master tech, hybrid certified, all the things that you can get. What I usually say is like all the meaningless awards that you can garner that don't actually say anything about your ability to do anything. In 2014, I started doing a YouTube channel called Humble Mechanic. And really the origin of that was I worked at such a really good dealership, like phenomenal dealership. And that's so twisted from what I think most people's perception of the automotive industry is. And look, the automotive industry has earned the reputation that it has. But because my point of view, where I existed every single day, was so different from the average point of view, I wanted to share that story. I wanted to share that like most people working on cars like really care about their customers and really care about doing a good job and like don't want to mess up and don't want people to feel like they're taken advantage of. So I started that like completely flying under the radar of the dealership I worked at. Got it caught a couple of times, got in trouble a couple of times for filming at the dealership, but there's a fun twist to that that'll come later, I think. And so went like hardcore YouTube, content, 4 or 5 videos a week while I was working full time, while I had a newborn daughter. That was late 2014. By the time this time of year, 2017 rolled around, I was able to quit my dealership job and focus on doing content creation full time. I made more at the dealership than I did the day I quit to do YouTube and other content. But I knew that like I couldn't work 2 full-time jobs much longer. In addition to having, again, an almost 2-year-old daughter, my wife, enjoys seeing me as well. So I took the plunge, pieced out of the dealership, and here we are 5 years later, which is unreal, really. Doing the thing 2 years ago, right at literally at the exact point of the world going sideways during COVID, we built this shop. So this is about 1,000 square feet. This is my 2022 Volkswagen Golf R that we're in the process of tearing apart and doing fun things to. I don't know if you can see this red hood right here. This is an Audi TT that is in various state of disrepair as well. So it's been a wild ride. Hopefully some of what we talk about today will motivate you guys to just like, I don't even know how to say it other than just damn try it. Just like, who cares if you do bad? Like, you'll suck. Boy, you want to see something embarrassing for me? Go back and watch like my first 3 videos. They're awful. They're awful. In fact, the first video I ever did, and please stop me if you need to, Nicole or John, because I will legit ramble for the whole time. Starting YouTube channel today is definitely a different ballgame than it was back in 2013, 2014. But my first video was how to change a tire on a Volkswagen. And if you're in the VW world, like the old Widowmaker jacks, which are they're dangerous if you don't use it right. If you use it exactly correctly, following the very rigid German rules of doing things, it works wonderful. If you don't, the car's coming off the jack and you're probably going to get hurt or destroy the car. So I'm like, I need to show people how to do this. Great. It was my wife holding my phone sitting on top of a tripod because there weren't like phone mounts for tripods back then. You couldn't just order one on Amazon. So she has my iPhone 3GS, is how long ago this was, holding it like this, no audio, nothing, just me yelling at the camera. And I had no idea how to edit videos. So it was like, we're going to just do this till you get it in one take. And yeah, that video actually ended up doing really well. And I would get emails, so random to get an email from somebody like, hey, I was stuck on the side of the road. I stumbled across your video and it helped me change a tire in my car.
Do you still get comments on that video? You get comment notifications still?
I have my notifications turned off so that I don't get 10,000 emails every day, but not so much anymore. But for years after that video, I would get, and like the comments are cool, but like, people would take the time to snatch my email address out of like the bio on YouTube and send me an email, like a legitimate email. It's so weird. Like I could never imagine doing that. Yeah. Here's 8,000 characters of why it was so awesome. But it's really, really cool. And hopefully again, like the three of us chatting today motivates some of y'all to just like dive on in and go.
So the first week after you left the dealership, the first week you were out on your own, did you look back and go, man, why did I wait so long?
It took me a little bit longer than just a week. The first week was like straight up panic. Like you just left a job where you made almost $100,000 a year. You had 3 weeks paid vacation. You had benefits. I was a shop foreman, so I could come and go as I pleased. As long as the shop was doing their work, it didn't matter whether I was there or not. And you just said, bye, let's go make YouTube videos for a living. And, with a car payment and a house payment and a 2-year-old and all like the reasons why people wouldn't do something, weirdly, were among the reasons why I wanted to, because I never wanted to look back and go, man, blaming your kid for not doing something. I got a 2-year-old. I can't. I got a mortgage. I can't. I just bought a new car. I can't. What am I going to do here? Like, I don't know. We figured it out.
Necessity is a great motivator.
Huge. But yeah, dude, after one of my only regrets about leaving and all that was not working like 10% harder so I could have done it sooner. And I loved my job too. So it wasn't even like I hated my job and had a job that really sucked. Like I really liked what I did.
Okay, well, I know top on most people's minds right now are gas prices. So let's have a little conversation about these raising gas prices. I went to Florida and back over the weekend, and when I left, it was $3.39, and when I came back, it was $3.99 over a 3-day period of time per gallon on average. Where I was seeing it, there's ups and downs from that, and I'm hearing a lot of people talking about completely changing how they interact with their car right now, discussing making so how the wood gas conversion on a car for running your car and a lot of other things, because gas has gone up around our area about $1 a gallon. What do you both think about this whole gas thing?
John, I'm gonna let you chime in on that one. I have a little bit to add to it.
If the price of gas dictates your life, you need to reevaluate your life. I drive. I think I have 13 vehicles. We drive a lot. I don't even look. I have noticed that the price of gas right now because we're talking about it. We used to fill up the 4Runner and it would be, I don't know, $34, and now it's $75 to fill up the 4Runner. I've got big trucks, so they only run $100 and then cut off, and I now have to go back to how it was 15 years ago when we left California. I notice it, but I mean, it's not changing anything we're doing, and I would hope that anybody that watches us, that it's not changing anything they're doing either. I would hope that they are in a position where you figure out how to capitalize on the things going on. If things are going to get expensive right now, which they looks like they are, where can you profit from that? How can you benefit? What service can you provide? I would think if people are worried about fuel costs and you have a truck, you could probably make a killing moving stuff for people right now.
Yeah, I think we're going to stumble our way into some opportunities. And if you do have a business where you directly deliver things where fuel prices are a huge part of your expense, you know, I don't know, you deliver pizzas or whatever it is, like you need to account for that. In my opinion, that's something that's probably a rolling accounting thing. For me, it hasn't really impacted me a ton. Like you, John, I'm not going to do it a lot different. Like I still got to take the kid to school and pick her up. I still have to go places. Am I happy about paying $1 more a gallon? Not really. But the only thing it might change for me is, and this goes both ways, I might drive a little more reserved because it's like, okay, I can, you know, nurse this tank for a little while longer. Flip side, I might drive a little bit less reserved because I paid a lot more for that fuel and I want to enjoy my time in my car a little bit more. But I think, John, you nailed it. Like there's opportunity to be had. Ultimately though, like just like in 2008, 2009, when we were kind of in the same fuel price space, the thing I saw people do a lot of was make some very long-term foolish choices with what they did with their vehicle and trade their paid off Suburban in to get a car note on a Prius that now they're paying $400 something a month for. And I'm like, y'all, like you're still buying fuel for it, one, but $400 a month buys a hell of a lot of fuel for that big SUV. You're making maybe a smart term short play, but the long term, you're going to spend way more on that car note than you would have just riding it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm in a little different place than both of you are with my business, where I've been growing. Everything's gone back into it. And I do think about my budget. But when I did the math on the increase on how much that means for me a month, it's $60. And if it goes up another $1, that's $120. And I can find $120 if I'm because the benefit of driving to do the things I do when I drive far outweigh whether it's $60 or $120 more. When I was talking about that with my audience, somebody piped up with they commute 300 miles a day. And it really does. It's $40 more a day. And at that point, I'm wondering, is it time for a job change for that person?
Or work from home once a day, once a week time.
Yeah, because you didn't get, it might be time to transition out of that.
Yeah, complete life change.
Yeah, which is a big deal. But I also have a philosophy that I need to own 2 cars at least, because when one breaks, like I just told Charles, my rear differential broke right before I went to Florida on my main car. I have a little Mighty Max truck as my backup vehicle, so I can go somewhere if I need to. And that thing gets pretty good gas mileage. If it ever comes to a squish for me, I'll just jump in the more fuel efficient one if I care. But that cost me $189 to buy. So
I drove 2 hours yesterday. I drove an hour to Jackson, picked up a truck bed and trailer load full of tartar food troughs, metal troughs. Fuel was $4 a gallon. I don't know what I put in it. I topped the truck off. The truck was full when I left here. I topped it as I came back into town. And I bought, I think 20 or so of these troughs. We're doing raised beds. We're going to put them on cinder blocks. The raised beds were all marked down half price. So, I mean, fuel was a little more than normal, but I literally saved half of the cost on these things. I knew they were there. I made the run to go get them. It's a wash. If anything, I profited from it. Like it doesn't affect anything in my day.
Yeah, I think there is like the person you mentioned, Nicole, that drives all those miles a day. Like there's probably other lifestyle changes that I would think of as well, in addition to maybe telecommuting 1 or 2 days a week, which, boy, there's never been a better case for that, you know, the last 2 years. And I think employers are now starting to get back into that vibe of like, nope, you got to be in the office, which doesn't make any sense to me. But man, I'm just thinking of like 300 miles a day in the car every day. I would lose my mind. Take a 25% pay cut and think about how much more of your life you're going to get back.
That's because they're not factoring. I mean, maybe they're paying him while he's driving, but they're not factoring in what their cost value. They don't realize what they can do. They're thinking as an employer, an employee, not an employer. They're not thinking as a businessman.
Right.
And maybe they are. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 300 miles for me, that's going to take what, 4 hours to drive if I'm slow, depending on what it is, 3 to 4 hours. Do you know how much money I can make in 3 to 4 hours?
Yeah, you could find $120 in an hour. If I needed 120 bucks, I could take this thing off the table and go, hey, I have this for sale. And out of the 700,000 some people on Facebook, one of them is going to buy that thing. And I'm going to have 120 bucks come into PayPal right then.
Yep. Okay, let's get back to Charles and his story. Right before the shutdowns, he was in his stride, and he decided to build the shop that you see him in right now, and then shut down. How'd that go for you, Charles?
Honestly, I part of me does feel guilty about what I'm about to say, because so many people really did have their lives turned upside down over the last 2 years. And when I'm going to say what I'm going to say, I don't mean to like discredit all of that. This is just what happened and how it happened for me. So this was early 2020. I was gone pretty much every weekend leading up to early March. My daughter and I went to Chicago for her birthday and my grandma's birthday. We got home on Monday morning. Friday of that week is when the world shut down. Well, 2 weeks back up, 2019, August or so, I got to find more space. I was working in a 20 by 20 garage. And I mean, you see all this nonsense in here, all this crap plus more was shoved into 20 by 20, not to mention like all my family stuff too, kids' bikes and whatnot. So it needed more space. We found a warehouse that kind of worked, but they didn't really want us working on cars in it. So that doesn't really work. They were going to let me just do it anyway. But if I ever wanted to open the doors to fix customer cars, off the table. Searched and searched and searched, found nothing. We actually almost moved, couldn't find a house worth a damn that had property to build. So we just made the choice to build this shop. This is about 1,000 square feet, added an office, couple of closets, and a bathroom. So like I can shut this off from the rest of the house and we're completely separate. So they broke ground in the end of February 2020, worked all through all the shutdowns. There was zero disruption in getting stuff. Now there could have been, like one thing that I just don't remember. There was one business that didn't want to come inside because they were worried. It was like the HVAC people, and the contractor was able to just get that handled. But what worked out so awesome is I was home. So I was home to make the decision of, are we going to put windows here and here, or are we going to do one, or are we going to do them on the backside? Where do all the outlets go? Where are we going to put the thingy in the floor so that when the floor cracks, it's a control joint? Where are they going to put the control joint? Like all these little micro decisions that had I not been here, my wife would have had to make. And like, that's not fair to her, which like, she's amazing, but she doesn't need to deal with any of this. So it worked out so good because nobody was going anywhere for me. And then after they had finished, the builder, super rad guy, we ended up becoming, kind of casual acquaintances. So I text him from time to time, and I text him. So they finished in May. I text him like September, October. He's like, dude, be thankful you finished that when you did. If I started that today, that's like another $30,000. And that was back in 2020. I don't even want to talk about what it would cost today. So an additional $30,000 over what we already spent, just if I would have waited a handful of months, assuming they could have done it at all, because they might not have been able to do it.
That's yesterday's math. Next week, it's probably 20% above that even.
Yeah. And today, I mean, geez, finding a company to come out do anything around here lately is impossible. But yeah, it would probably be a $220,000 build.
Yep.
Insane. So don't wait. Just do it.
Don't wait. Just do it. If you get nothing else from this, that's the point, right?
Just do it. I look throughout my career and my past and the successes that I've had and what I think, and I can't quite figure out if I'm the product of being like bold and brave, or it's that I'm stupid and I don't know any better, because I tend to, especially when there's very little risk, just like jump in and just do it. I don't do any research. I don't spend 4 months figuring out if I should or I shouldn't. Like, I get started and then I figure out how to do it. And then if I can't do it, I just do something else. Like, when I started a YouTube channel, you guys, I had no idea how to edit videos. Zero. I'd never edited a video in my life. Didn't know how to edit a photograph. Didn't know how to write a title for anything. Like, I probably shouldn't have even graduated high school. So what did I do? I figured it out. I went on YouTube. How do I edit a video? Okay, I sucked for a while. Still not great, but gets it done. Pays my bills.
Yeah.
So
we spent 2 years putting raw videos up. We were loading videos that were over an hour long. I didn't graduate high school. And if I research or wait to do anything, it never happens. I literally, if I have an idea in my head and I don't execute on it literally in 5 seconds, which is sending messages to several people, even to my wife, and she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Thanks for reminding me. That's why I did it." But if I don't put it on 3 other people and put it in motion, it's never going to happen. And our best stuff that has happened has been that. It's happened on Christmas Eve. It happens at 1 a.m. Yep. Like, if you get a message from me at 2 a.m, ignore it. It's just so that I have put it on you and we can talk about it in the morning. But if I don't get it out of my head right then, it's never going to happen. I've already forgotten it.
Here's one from Joshua. The biggest enemy of a good plan is the perfect plan.
Yeah.
Josh knows all about that.
For sure. The number of those kind of text messages my wife has in her phone. And it's like, I know the look. She picks it up and she reads it and she's like, okay. And then it go, just next, what else am I doing? But yeah, I've talked to so many people that are like, now let's be fair too. There are places where you better know what the hell you're doing. Like, had I rented one of those shops and not done any research, I would have never been able to open the doors for the public to come in and get their car worked on. So I'd be paying $3,000 a month to do what I do here. And I couldn't take in customer work because we couldn't have that kind of workflow. So there are places where you really need to make sure that you're meeting whatever regulations, or you're not going to get shut down because you didn't have a grease trap, whatever the situation is. But when it's little stuff, that the worst thing that will happen is you suck at it. Like, I didn't do any research before I started doing a YouTube channel. There could have been 1,000 other people making Volkswagen Audi repair videos. I wouldn't have known any different. But I tell you, if there were, and I did, I would have never done it, because I would have said something like this. Oh man, there's a lot of people doing a really good job of that. I don't think I could do as good of a job. I'll figure something else out. And I would have never started.
Yeah, you just got to start. I think that's when people ask me lots of questions about how to build. I get a lot of questions: how to build the website, how to set your marketing position, how to develop your story, all of which are things I can talk about. I'm wondering why they're not already out selling the coffee. I had somebody this weekend who wants to start a roasting business come up to me at Rogue Food and say, "Hey, I'm really excited to talk to you about starting a roasting business because I'm at this point in my life. I just lost a job. That's kind of a bummer, but this is the one time in my life where I don't have kids to support and I can just do what I've always dreamed of, which is to be a coffee roaster." I said, "Well, do you have a roaster?" "No." "Do you know how to roast?" "No." "How do you feel about private labeling and concentrating on developing your customer base with somebody who's already roasting, and spend the next couple of years, if you think you need to be a roaster, learning to roast? But the hardest part, I think, of a coffee roasting business is selling it. It's not the craft, it's selling it." And a lot of people think they have to make the widget, right? You don't always have to make the widget. You got to make the money.
Yeah. I like the idea of private labeling coffee, by the way, Nicole. Just saying. Just saying. Noted.
We'll have to test some flavors out.
Only
I knew somebody who did that.
I know. We got to find someone.
Coffee. It can be the do the coffee for sure, because you're going to bundle it. But a Humble Mechanic coffee mug along with the Humble Mechanic coffee. We use Nicole's coffee. We have 2 versions of it. And we sell very few coffee mugs, and we don't sell a ton of coffee, but together we sell, tenfold.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Nicole, in that conversation that you had with that person, like, What do you say to them to help them understand, like, you have the idea, but like there's more than this one way to do it. Like you don't have to just make the widget. There's all these other things that you can really do.
I like to start asking them questions when we go there, and I will be talking with this person again. I could tell she didn't like my answer. But if you wait a year or two learning to roast coffee to sell your first pound, you're never getting your business off the ground. And if you sell 100 pounds next week to a grocery store or something, or at the farmer's market, you're going to love it because you have that financial feedback. Most of us like money. That financial feedback puts a smile on my face every time it happens, right? So I start asking questions. Why do you want to roast coffee? Is it because you love how it tastes? Like, what is it about it? And try to get them with a lot of whys. And it usually doesn't change them in that conversation.
Right.
They think about it for a while, and then they come back again. And then I ask more questions. That's how I've seen that unfold. I haven't ever found the one hot button that changes people unless they were already ready to think about things differently when they came up to me.
I found that most people that are down that path, they like the idea of doing the thing more so than actually doing the thing, because like the work is hard and it's often very thankless and very lonely when it's 2 a.m. and you're trying to get something done that was supposed to be done earlier that day. Which I find to be just an incredibly clear time for me to work when no one else is out. You're not getting emails all day or texts all day. But they like the idea of more than anything. Because I get it too. Like, Charles, what camera should I buy to start my YouTube channel? And I'm like, bro, your phone. Like that.
Sorry.
Did they catch one?
No.
But like your phone, way better of a camera than I started with. Even this Sony that I'm recording this on, like, it's not the best camera out there. You can do a whole lot with what you have already, and you're going to suck anyway. So why spend $4,000 on video and audio equipment to suck when you can suck for free and get better and maybe actually make a couple bucks to buy the good stuff when it's time, which you'll probably end up buying way sooner than you actually need to. Don't feel bad, because I'm guilty of doing that stuff too, because I like gadgets and things. I like gadgets and things a lot. I think that's pretty evident by all the nonsense I have behind me here.
But that's the difference between people. People want to talk business. They don't want to do business. And a lot of people that want to start a business, they want to start a business so that they don't have to be at work, or they don't have to work as much. And they don't realize that you are going to work way more. If you think that you're going to start a business and not keep some kind of time frame, you're sorely mistaken. You're going to spend twice as much time.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. Well, I see a lot of people looking at, okay, I can charge this much an hour and keep it all, versus my job where I make this other amount. And they don't realize how much of that the tax man's going to get and how many of those free hours you'll be working to get the paid hours. I think that's something that a lot of people don't look at. And I would never use that as a way to discourage somebody from starting, because the benefits of running your own world and designing it the way you want it to be in your life far outweigh and being able to do what you're passionate about. I think that far outweighs the security of that paycheck where you get paid for every hour, but you get paid less for every hour.
I did this free for a long time before I made any money doing it.
Yeah.
Long time. I have often said, and John, this is kind of to your question earlier, like, if people really understood what this lifestyle is like forget like, oh, that's that dude from YouTube. Like, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I take that back. I'm very thankful that I can be in a position to be that way. But like, if people understood what this kind of lifestyle really means and what it feels like and what it tastes like, they would do whatever the hell they could today, like 5 seconds ago, to get it going. Now, it took me, in actuality, 8 years to get to the point where I could, longer than that, almost 10 years to get to the point where I could actually leave my job, right? I say I started making YouTube videos in 2014 because that's when I started. the process started in like 2008 when my wife and I both worked full time, just the two of us, no kids. And we made a bunch of money in 2008. And then at like doing taxes and looking back on what we had nothing to show for it. Yep. No more money in the bank, no less bills, nothing. Like I still to this day, I have no idea where all this money went, squandered somehow. So we're like, okay, that was really stupid. Let's evaluate our entire life. So we immediately paid off the car because we could. Then we paid off the next car. Then we pared down a bunch of other things. Then we started looking to move. When we moved, our mortgage went from, I don't know, $900 a month or whatever it was to like $700 a month with escrow. So we're saving a ton of money every month. This was 2012 now, 2013. Then we started squirreling money away. Then I'm like, okay, we're going to do this online thing. And so when it got to the place where I felt like I was financially ready to leave, we had a bunch of money in the bank to pay our bills. If I didn't make $1 from the internet for many, 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 many months, I mean, I wouldn't have been real thrilled about it, but we wouldn't have gotten kicked out of our house. We wouldn't have not been able to eat. We wouldn't have to choose between Netflix and food. So it was such a long process. And then while I was at the dealership, to say I worked 100 hours a week for a year and a half, it's probably pretty conservative. Because I would get up at like 4. I would get as much done as I could till I had to leave for work at 6. I would go to work. I would work on internet stuff on my lunch break. I would leave at 4:30. I'd come home. I'd spend a couple hours with my family. Family would go to bed, and I'm up till 11 or 12 at night doing the things, right? Answering emails, creating content, editing videos, screwing it up because I didn't turn the microphone on and having to reshoot a video, which happened more times than I want to talk about. So that was a year and a half of that. That sucked. Like it sucked. But here's the thing. I knew it was a temporary suck. And I knew the reward for doing that much sucking was going to be worth it. And now, like, I'm going to Atlanta next weekend. Great. Paid trip. I'm paid to be there. I'm going to come home. I'm going to pick my family up. We're going to go on vacation for a couple of days for my daughter's birthday. Then what are we going to do after that? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Meanwhile, I got my camera guy sitting over here. He'll be working through that whole weekend. He'll take a couple of days off because he works his ass off too. So when I have a couple of days off, he usually can capitalize on that as well. Or if we got stuff to get done, it works. But there's no time off. Like I have to leave my house and not be here in order to unplug. Like go somewhere else, phone in the hotel room. If something happens, I'll find out, I guess, when I get back to it. Otherwise, you're on the clock. And honestly, I like it. I like it a lot. Not all the time, but I like it a lot.
I think it's fun being on the clock for something you love, and it becomes part of your lifestyle. One of the hacks I had to learn was blocking. So before I ran my business, I blocked time at work to get projects done. Now I block time in my schedule to remember to sit down and have a relaxing dinner or something. If I'm going to build that in, it's actually scheduled at this point. People make fun of me, or to have a discussion about how the gardens are going to be designed out here this year, because we're doing all that. Always blocked off the walk for the dogs. Now we have training for the dogs because they turned into little pill heads a couple weeks ago and need some serious training. It's those more personal things that I block rather than the work kind of schedules itself.
The work is always there for you.
Yeah. Which thing am I? John works 2 days in 1 day. I'm pretty sure.
3.
He works 3.
Well, I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so what do you have advice for people who are right now looking at the world we live in and the situation with the Ukraine, who are hesitant to start their side hustle?
Oh, sorry, John. Go ahead, John.
But isn't that what they're always going to say, right? So people are going to tell you, oh, the economy's good. You don't want to leave your job and all those benefits while the economy is good, right? You make that money. You don't want to leave your job. What they're really telling you is they don't want you to do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah.
I was told, and I should go back to the video one day and do like a video of reading all the comments of the video I made when I told everybody I was leaving the dealership, because it was, wow, that's really stupid. Or the really one, it was like maybe like a backhanded compliment, like a bless your heart kind of vibe, where it was, well, you could always go back and fix cars if it doesn't work out. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, I can do that. Thanks. I didn't realize that. But like, there's always going to be a million excuses why you shouldn't, or why you can't, or why it's not the right time, or what you're going to wait for, or when things pick up, or when things get better. Like, I can think of 1,000 of them. I made great money. I had a toddler, right? We adopted our daughter. That's expensive. We had a lot of bills. But those are always going to be there. And how are you going to look your kid in the face when they're 17 and being judgmental and resentful that you've blamed them for the past 15, 16 years for you not wanting to do anything? It ain't that kid's fault. You decided that. You decided not to because you were scared, because that shit is scary or whatever. And now you're resentful to them over something that is your fault. Like, I was the opposite. The last thing I wanted to ever do was even think, oh man, I got a kid, I can't do this. It's because I had a kid and because I cared about my family that I had to do it. Maybe that's upside down. I don't know. But there's always an excuse not to. But most of those suck. So figure out the one thing you need just to go. And then the rest of it, you'll figure out from there.
I think that's 100% right on. It's because you have the things you love in your life that you're willing to do it, that it makes sense to do it. And I think like my last, 2.5 months, I've had personal thing after personal thing after personal thing happen. And a lot of people in that situation complain about it. And all I've been thinking is I'm really glad I'm in a position to handle all of these things, because I have a lot more flexibility in what I'm doing now than had I been needing to be in an office from 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or however that works these days with the commute. It would have been a lot harder if I was stuck, committed to a specific schedule, than if I could just look and say, okay, we need to shift some things to handle this stuff. Otherwise, it's going to be a big pain in the butt to handle. And I think it actually gives you more stability once you've done it when life's things come up, because life's things always come up. They don't stop just because, just because you're Nicole Sauce and you have a podcast called Living Free in Tennessee and you roast coffee. That doesn't stop anything. It all still happens.
Yeah, I feel bad for people that are stuck in that mindset because they haven't realized that the reason they're making all those excuses, and some of them are probably legit, right? Let's be fair about it. Some of them are probably legit, but for the most part, it's you're scared. And that's okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to like be uneasy about these things, but your fear is not going to go away. Like, it's always going to be there. Why not at least be scared and like what you do? I mean, I'd rather be nervous about like, is this thing going to happen for me? Or am I going to get this deal? Am I going to sign this contract? Instead of, I hope I don't get fired today because the dealership is slow or the office is downsizing or whatever, can happen in your industry. I'd much rather have influence and control over the thing that I'm scared of than be scared of something I have absolutely no control over.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. John, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm kind of different. Like,
not you.
I don't have coddling and a hug for people. Like, you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. What I want to say is you're going to fucking do it, or you're just not going to do it and you're going to continue to make your excuses. And I'm okay with that because every business needs employees, and that's what those people remain. They remain employees. Until they have a taste of actual true freedom, they don't know what they're missing. They have no idea.
Yeah, and I know people who taste the freedom, people I know very well, who go right back to the security of the job because they hate their own perception that it's more insecure than their job, even though your job is equally insecure. That's the piece people don't realize. It's all you got to make it happen. It doesn't matter if you're working for somebody or you're working for yourself.
But I work better in turmoil. Like we're going to worry about putting a fire out in the building when the fire started. We're not even going to worry about it until it's on fire. You give me $1 million contract with 6 months to execute, we're not even going to start working on it until 60 days due. That's just how we do. I don't ever have a plan B or plan C. The plan is always to just make it work. And it has for 35 years. So I don't understand, having been able to do what I've done literally for 35 years, I don't understand people's excuses. And that's all I hear is excuses. Like, I'm probably not the dude to be on this motivational, but I have evidence of success. Like, everything I say, I can support, and you can come here and actually see it.
Yeah, I think it is motivational, though, because the no excuses message is part of motivating people. If you allow yourself to fall prey to excuses, then you're going to excuse yourself out of getting anything done for yourself. That's how that works. And part of that is, I think it starts with the excuses you tell or the complaining you do to other people about things that happen. Do I bitch about stuff to my friends? Yes. Do I spend podcast episode after podcast episode talking about a car repair bill? No. The car repair bill is always going to be there, and nobody's ever happy when it comes, but they're going to come. And if I spend time dwelling on the negative of that more of them seem to come if I do that. It's amazing how that happens. Wherein if I set my life up so that car payment or car bill doesn't matter, that's great. So that's what you concentrate on when those things happen is, okay, how does this never hurt my feelings again? Because that's all I can do. So I think it's very motivational personally. That's why I keep talking to you, John.
Well, and people are they're gonna hear things differently from everybody, right? John, that kick in the ass that you're gonna give somebody might be exactly what they need. They might need that kind of firm hand, as opposed to, Nicole might be a little bit more gentle about it. I probably fall somewhere in the middle, and it may depend on my mood of the certain day and how I'm feeling. Like the extreme rage that I had this morning about Volkswagen being so stupid in their incorrect information in the repair manual. And that's a really dumb thing to get upset about because I don't have any control over it looking back on it. But it's probably not a topic we need to dive too deep into about how they can't even get the oil spec right on cars that have been out for a year. But that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Well,
but you have equal control over that as war activities between Russia and Ukraine. And
yeah.
And people are not learning that lesson. Like we can't control anything that happens over there. So if we allow what's happening over there to control us here right now, and we don't start things because it seems insecure, or we go freak out and panic prepping never ends well. I've never seen it end well. It may, if shit really goes wrong, it may buy you a month or two, but panic prepping is not a good idea. If you use it as a motivator to, you know what, I actually do need to get my shit together and start building things methodically and not out of fear, then okay, fine. But you can't change anything that's going to happen over there in the next 12 months.
My plan is always to be successful no matter what. Like whether the economy is the worst it's ever been or the best it's ever been, like I'm trying to win all the time. Whatever I'm doing, I'm trying to win this game. And I can't control the economy. I can't control who's president or what some other country's doing, but I can control like the number of videos I make a week. I can control how awesome and creative and cool like the shit we're doing around here is. I can control all that stuff. So the rest of it, like part of me even feels overly ignorant about some of the things that are going on in the world because it doesn't like, it might impact me, but I can't do anything about it other than try and be as successful as I can be. And if I do that, I'm going to come out better no matter what. Whether things are great, whether things suck, I'm better off for it. So those are the kind of things that I really like. That's all I care about. Not all I care about, but that's like all I focus on.
Yeah.
If you're
So how do you make money when we have all this inflation going on? What are some ideas you guys have?
Make more money. Make more money. If you were busy starting a business too, you wouldn't know about what's going on in Ukraine. If you weren't busy on social media arguing with people you didn't know, you would have no idea. And as far as Volkswagen not getting their oil specs right, put that blast video out there. Imagine the eyeballs you're going to get from that. If I'm moving and fast, those are always my videos that get over, 5,000, 10,000 views on them. If I make a awesome, helpful video that can really change people's lives, I get 100 comments. If I'm yelling, I get 1,000 comments.
That shit is so frustrating sometimes. You're like, yo, I'm trying to change your life. Stop listening to me complain about something. That's why I haven't done anything with it. It's like, why y'all gonna listen to me complain about something when you can actually watch something I've done? You can do something good with your time.
John's made an art out of monetizing the pain though, or asshole customers.
As far as the inflation, I mean, I don't know what to tell people. I mean, we've got stuff every day. We order stuff that doesn't show up. You don't ever hear about it. It doesn't ever affect the production line. We're constantly building stuff, not in some color some one dude wants, but we literally cannot build enough stuff to sell to our customers. We literally have more customers than we have product. We do, and that's how it's been. It's been that the entire 35 years in business, we have never spent money on ad. 1 year I ran full page ads in Recoil magazine. I've spent almost $1 million on Facebook ads, but they stopped working. Like I haven't put money on any social media ads in probably 4 years, but we still sell every single thing that we make. Just from, hey, we have this, and they buy it. It just goes.
Yeah, that's
I think
great.
John's advice about make more money, and I'll add probably spend less money that you don't need to. Like, what else are you gonna do? I enjoy the. Sounds like pans banging in the back.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you keep talking for a second. I'm gonna deal with this situation. But, yes.
She's got like a mogwai or something. Right.
I've got a dog being a jerk right now.
A gremlin.
Great. She doesn't like what the cat's doing.
If you're not in a place to figure out how to make more money or keep more of the money that you have, like you're going to get crushed.
Yeah. Turn off your cable stuff. Turn off your streaming video stuff. Those are things, those are entertainment. Those are amusement, which at the rawest form means no thought. So everybody has 6 hours of the day. I don't have time for a business. Everybody has 6 hours out of the day where they sit and do shit that does not make them better. Like you can find the time. What you mean is it's not important enough for you. And that's fine. But if you're involved, if you have inserted yourself into this conversation, then those are just excuses. Everybody can do it.
Yeah. If I can do it, everybody can do it.
See, Nicole, that's how I feel too. Like, you guys, if I, as just like a dealership technician that does nothing but fixes broken cars all day long, can somehow do the two things that I used to joke about at the dealership. One was, how do I become a technician and telecommute so I could work from home? And two, how do I just work on my own broke stuff and get paid for it? Like, if I can figure that stuff out, you watching this are probably much smarter than I am and much more crafty and clever than I am about things. The only difference is I just took the first couple steps and went going, and you didn't. And that's sad, man. Like, if you want it, it's there for you. I just don't think most people actually do want it. They just want to talk about wanting it. And that's weird to me.
They want to dream about it.
Yeah, and that's fine. Then tell me we're having a dream about it conversation, and I will invest the amount of time I should into that conversation with you.
It's just access. Like you don't realize that there is a group of people that are so busy doing stuff, and it's going to sound hard. They don't know you exist. They don't want, and and I'm not supposed to say this, right, as the social media guy. If you want to meet me and you want, like, dudes are always like, I want to come hang out. I don't hang out. Like, I don't hang out. Nicole can tell you, half these dudes on the chat here can tell you, they've all been here. Like, when you come and follow me around while I work, you are going to be exhausted at the end of the day. I move 5 miles a day, every single day inside this building, 5 miles on the property here, every single day. Just figure out how you want to use your time. I don't hang out. I don't have time. Like, I have maybe a dozen friends. I have 100 acquaintances. And if I'm ever sitting face to face with one of them, it is always business that we are discussing. I have incorporated everything I like to do within my business, and I have made that so that it all fits inside my business.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you don't talk to John without walking around. We had that at Self-Reliance Festival last time. He and I needed to talk. We were both busy walking somewhere while we were doing it.
Because we're busy. Like, if I sit still, I stand when I do these videos. If I sit down, I will fall asleep. I will take a nap.
I'm laughing because that literally exact thing happened to me yesterday. Yeah. It was my daughter's birthday. So, like, I took the day mostly off, and she was doing something. My wife was doing something, and I sat down, and the next thing I know, I wake up like a half hour later, like, oh, I fell asleep at 4:30 in the afternoon or whatever time it was. Then I was up till 2, but that's just neither here nor there again, I guess. But yeah, I'm probably not as extreme, but yeah, like I don't do stuff that isn't, and I feel bad. Like, I have friends that I don't see, and I'll talk to them when I can while, I'm driving or something, but I don't see them because I'm busy. Like, I'm legitimate busy, and I got to get this stuff done.
Most of the people we call friends that we don't see, when you do see them and you spend time catching up, it's them telling you about people that you don't know, or them talking about people you don't know. It's not something that's mutually beneficial to both parties. Usually when you run into that person, you want to be a part of what I'm doing. You move here, like literally you move here to Camden, or you come here to Camden, and we can do a lot of things. Half these dudes on this video right here that I see commenting have all been here on the property multiple times. And that's why we have relationships. Like, I'm not coming there. It's never going to happen. I am busy doing what I do, and hopefully it has enough value that people want to come be part of it.
Yep. Meanwhile, Charles and I go on the road.
This is true.
You travel every weekend, right?
Yeah, a lot. Like, the next 2 months are pretty busy. But I think people get it a little twisted. Like, it's not like I'm going on vacation every weekend, or, like John said, I'm not going to hang out. I end up doing that because that's part of the arrangement that I've made. Like, if I'm traveling, I'm either making content around it or I'm getting paid to be there, right? I was just in Wisconsin last weekend, paid to be there, paid for my trip, paid to be there. We're going to Atlanta. I'm kind of getting paid, and we're making content. So that's a double victory. That's why just me as like a dude, I have a camera guy now, so we can make more content and better content. And like, I don't know anything about having an employee. Like, thankfully Eli's awesome and works real hard. So we don't, kill each other, or him is probably more accurate. But yeah, I look around and I see all the opportunity that's out there for people. And I'm sure other people see it in me, right? Like, there's opportunity that I'm not capitalizing on. And some of that is I don't have time, or it's usually I just don't want to. Like, I just don't want to do it. But man, there's like, when you have an excuse of why you can't or that you're not, like, it's all bullshit. And you can. Yeah. I heard a quote. We did this thing when I worked at the dealer, and I don't remember what it was called, but it's like how to program your brain to stop negative self-talking yourself, or whatever it was. And it's just so cheesy, but there was one thing that super stood out to me, right? I always, whenever I went to training or any kind of educational thing, I felt like if I could get one thing, just one thing that I could truly implement into my day-to-day, it was a victory. I like to get more, but as long as there's one, it's a victory. And it was, you have enough time for everything that's important. And damn, if you don't, like, you'll find a way to get it done. You probably have time to go buy a new iPhone when the iPhone comes out, if that's important to you. You probably have time to do whatever if it's important to you, if that's video games or running your business, or like for me, it's usually 11 o'clock at night coming out and cleaning the shop and unwinding a little bit because I find that relaxing and therapeutic. But there's time. There's plenty of time. Especially if you're not wasting that time making excuses of why you don't have any time.
Well, the other thing is when you let go of the emotional baggage around that we are taught, we are raised in our society to have emotional baggage around saying no to people. And by which I mean, if I am invited to the Willis's wedding anniversary and it is scheduled at the same time as my spring workshop, it's not that I can't go, because I can go. It's that I'm not going to go because I'd rather be running my spring workshop, right? And no offense, John, but I would rather be running my spring workshop. But we're taught to feel guilty, and the language we have around how we even communicate our schedules with people involves the word I can't when it's really I won't. And when you start being more honest with yourself about that, whether or not you decide to be polite to how you say it to other people, it helps you realize I am making a prioritization decision here. And maybe I would rather be at the Willis's anniversary celebration for half a day in the middle of my workshop. It helps you realize what you're trading off. And once you realize that, you can make the decision that's best, as opposed to feeling like you're slave to your schedule, because you're not. You're totally in control of your schedule 100% of the time. It's just sometimes your schedule, you decide you need to do things that you would rather not do. That's it, for whatever reason. When you know why, then it's easier to make the right decision for your priorities.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like, just pay someone else to do it. Like I pay someone to cut our grass. Like as a dude that grew up, Midwest in the 80s, like nobody paid anybody to cut their grass. If you didn't cut your own grass, you were either rich in the view of other people, or you didn't cut your grass. Like the grass just never got cut. And now I'm like, bro, there's 100,000 other things I'd rather do than spend 2 hours, even though I'm just sitting my ass on a lawnmower, than cut the grass. Like simple, like $40 to cut the grass or whatever it is. I don't even know. My wife handles paying for it. Like that 2 hours, I'm going to make more than $40, or I'm going to spend that time doing something I actually want to do. In addition to, making more than $40, which I'm a big fan of, like hanging out with my family, doing stuff with them, doing another project that maybe won't make me any money, but maybe it's like something I'm super into or whatever. Like, don't be afraid of that stuff either. Cause man, there's so much of that stuff you can outsource and just let someone else take care of, like your website, and just have Nicole do it. Things that I could probably do myself.
It's very rare I take on somebody's website.
No, Nicole can do that in like 4 seconds. Meanwhile, it's going to take me 3 hours. And I probably still won't do that good of a job at it.
Oh, I think you'd be fine if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I don't want to though.
Right. That's the rub right there. Yeah, I'm actually very careful which website customers I even take on anymore. You're so easy to work with that you're still my customer.
She looked at mine and she's like, "This is such a mess." I
did. I looked at yours and I thought, I'm gonna quote him an amount of money. It's gonna cost me 2 to 3 times that at the end of the day, because I don't know what I don't know, and it's gonna take way longer than I said, and then I'm gonna piss him off and be mad at myself. So I didn't take it. That is what happened.
Slim Perkins says that I'm trying that with a friend. He's always beating himself up over mistakes and failures. Be careful who you allow access to you, especially if you're trying to get something going. You're trying to take your business to the next level. Be careful who you're around, because everybody you come in contact with and spend time with is contagious. And those people that have constant failures, and there's constantly, every time you talk to them, something's wrong. They are cursed. There's something wrong with them, or they're making it up for attention, or they're amplifying the little negative things because that's what's got them the attention that they seek. Be very careful with that word friend, because Facebook wants you to believe that all those people that follow you on social media now, that all these people are friends. But they're not friends. Like evaluate what a friend is to you, and be careful allowing access to people who are not adding to you. If you're the best dude in the room, you're in the wrong room. Like, you should never be in that room again. You should always be around dudes. I say this all the time. When you tell your friend with a Mustang, hey, I'm going to buy a Ferrari, your buddy with a Mustang is going to tell you all these reasons that you don't want a Ferrari. You got to tune them all the time. You got to do all this stuff to them. When you tell a dude that's got 3 Ferraris you want to buy a Ferrari, he's going to take you down. He's going to introduce you to his guy, and he's going to start sending you links and telling you which one you should get, and he's going to help you and facilitate you buying that Ferrari. Just be around better people, and if you have a person in your life that is constantly, every time you talk to them, some bad shit has happened, stay the fuck away from those people.
Yep.
Yeah. And that can be really hard, because a lot of times those used to be really good friends of yours. They were people that you were all tight with, and letting that go can be like not just tough. Like, that can be devastating. You can lose someone that you thought was your friend for a time, but you guys, we have time for all the important stuff, right? But your time is also limited. So you're going to spend years in that negative space and miss out on a lot of really great stuff. We used to have at the shop, we called it the smoking table, because it was literally the table where guys would go smoke. And so it was so funny, because it was a group, and they would all go out and they would smoke together. And then they would all come back in and they would casually get back to work. And this might blow your mind. These were also the guys that complained they didn't make enough money.
Yep.
These were also the guys that would bitch about everything. Parts is too slow. My service advisor this. The customer's not buying this. Meanwhile, I'm not the fastest dude in the shop, but nice, just steady work. Get my work done. Get it done right. And then
everybody I work with is stupider than I am. That's the one I hear all the time. They're all a bunch of boneheads. Well, then why are you working there?
I used to say that too, but now that I have my camera guy, I can't say that anymore. Because when it was just me, it was no problem, but I don't want to hurt Eli's feelings.
Uh-oh. Eli's in trouble.
No, he's fine.
You're not wrong, Charles. It's hard to get rid of those. I think the one I see most people struggling with is when it's family.
Yep.
Because it's
Mom,
not
dad,
it's
spouse.
not even uncommon that one or another family member is your Eeyore factor. And I call it the Eeyore factor,
Yep,
the energy vampire.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, you cannot allow that to come. You either need to cut them out or have boundaries that are strong enough that it doesn't matter that they Eeyore out in your presence. And part of that is you don't need to change. You don't need to fix their problems. Learning not to fix other people's problems for me was a big lesson in the last few years. I got enough of my own. I got to put my time on. I don't know how I can fix yours. So, okay. So we're looking at the war with Ukraine. We're looking at somehow people are surprised after everything that's happened since 2020 that we're in an inflationary cycle. Didn't see that one coming at all. And hesitating to start. I think the way you make money in an inflationary situation is you just keep moving forward and charge more for things.
Yeah,
I think you need to be comfortable with ongoing raising of your prices in response to that and do the best you can do. I think getting assets that will appreciate, like real estate, which may or may not over the long run continue to do that, also helps.
Yeah, the raising prices thing is something I struggled with a lot, because it's uncomfortable to tell someone, I want this much money, at least it was for me. I want this much money to do this thing for you. Like, here's the value I'm going to deliver. Am I going to be able to deliver it? Are they going to think it's worth it? Are they going to, like, I sent a pitch to a company last week, and boy, if they buy it, things will be good around the Humble Mechanic HQ. But if they don't, honestly, I'll be a little disappointed, because like, it's a brand that I like and I've worked with before, and they're real cool, and like, we're casual friends or whatever, but like, not going to do anything different. If they say no, I'll just find the next thing to do. Right. Will I be disappointed? A little, but am I going to like be this devastated dude and like sleeping in the shop, crying in the fetal position? Hell no. I'm not going to do anything different. I'm just going to keep rolling, and I'm going to work a little bit harder probably because I'm pissed off that they said no. But I'm also not going to lower my price for the next person either. Just because they didn't want to do it at XYZ rate doesn't mean that that's not what I'm worth for this thing, right?
Right.
And I'm always uncomfortable with every dollar amount that I tell someone I want to be paid for whatever it is I'm doing. Every time. I'm like, okay, send. Let's hope they do it. But it's worked out pretty good. And my favorite part is that always then sets the new baseline. So you just keep ratcheting up. If someone says, I'll do, I don't know, 100,000, that's not the number the thing was, by the way. Someone says they'll do 100,000. Now 100,000 is my new benchmark for everyone. And we evaluate from there. Then we push it to 105, 110. I mean, there's probably a point where everyone's going to say no, but then it's easy to just drop that down a little bit or do more work for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with the price you're charging, you're not charging enough. And
go ahead.
And if you have products sitting around, if you can sell everything you have, raise your prices. My price, when I quote somebody something, usually I don't want to do it. I give them a price that I think is out of the realm of them accepting it, and then they accept it, and I'm stuck doing it. But I'll throw out an off-the-wall price, and they're like, yeah, that's out of my price range. I go, look, man, that's the price you're going to pay me to get me to sit here this weekend all the way up till midnight and finish your thing rather than go do what I want to do with my wife.
Yeah.
I got up at 4:00 this morning. I'll go to bed tonight at 12 o'clock. I'll literally put my head on the pillow at 12 o'clock, and I'll get up tomorrow at 4:30, somewhere between 4 and 4:30. And I'll do that for 5 days. So the weekend, to get me to do something, that's the price that it costs me. It costs you to bribe me to do that instead of what I want to do this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I think being unapologetic about your prices is something it's hard for people to learn because we've been trained to be cheap. I see it in the food world all the time. People want to eat healthy. They want to have farm fresh stuff. They think it should cost less than Walmart because if they're paying directly to the farmer, there's no middleman. Quite the opposite. It's going to cost you more than it does at Walmart because the farmer knows what they have into whatever it is you're buying from them. And what they have into that is a good deal more if it's raised properly than factory raised food.
Well, they're used to eating poison.
Yeah. So if you've been trained, I buy the cheapest one at the grocery store every time. If you want to take control of your health, you need to retrain yourself to buy the best one for your health. Whether it's, I raise a lot here, but whether it's paying $550 for a lamb, which I did last year, which would cost $200 if it was raised not as well, or whether it's making sure you make those direct relationships, that's the way that has to work. And I think being unapologetic is hard for people who've always cheaped out on everything.
Well,
I see it in the homesteader space big time. I have $25 into this chicken. I'll take $6.
That's poverty mindset. I mean, if you're buying something that costs less money and their ad campaign is it's just as good as the more expensive thing, it's never as good as, because if they were as good as, they would be the thing. If you're the best, be the best. Always improve what you do and be the best in your space, no matter what that space is. If you're the best, you will never have a shortage of business. Just always excel.
So I see Gary Johnson just got his text message from Special Operations Equipment.
I have no idea what that is. It's probably the new shirt. I think they're probably sold out because I did 2 or 3 pieces of content this morning with this.
Yeah.
And my phone's literally going ding, 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 ding. And there's only 120 of them. So that's probably what it is. Amanda's probably put an email push out.
Yeah. I understand the text messages go out before the email though.
An hour early.
So if you're not on the text message list, guys, get on there so you can get that t-shirt.
Yeah.
You're missing out. It's probably too late now.
Yeah. It's probably too late.
Yep.
Yeah. People from the consumer side often focus on price point over value. And and I do it too with certain things. Like there's a gear wrench toolbox right here, filled complete gear wrench tools, solid mid price point tool. Over here, which you guys can't see, is a roll cart, very similar to what I had at the dealer. As full-time dealer tech, right? A lot of Snap-on stuff, a lot of Craftsman stuff, some sockets that I don't use a whole bunch. I didn't pay a lot of money for. Milwaukee stuff. I'm just looking to see what else is in here. But like the Snap-on stuff in my toolbox are the best tools that I own. Hands down, in my opinion, no comparison. Does that mean I need that? As a professional, some ways, yes. But does that mean that you need it as a consumer? No. Those gear wrench tools will be just fine.
Yeah,
you're buying for the value, more so than the price. Also, you could get like 5 times more for the price of one Snap-on tool.
Yeah. So Milwaukee. All your stuff's red?
A lot of my stuff is red. Actually, my roll cart's red too, but it's not Milwaukee. Toolbox is red. Got some Klein stuff, some Snap-on. A lot of this stuff is my old dealership tools that I used every day. So yeah, I worked very hard to not be brand exclusive with anything and to find the best tool for whatever the job I needed to do was. And sometimes the Craftsman tools that are 1/4-inch drive were the best because that's the shit I lost all the time. And I would only pay $3 a socket or whatever they were, $1.50. I don't even know. This was forever ago I bought them because I knew I'd lose it. And so what? I was out $3, $2, whatever. I wouldn't care. But you out $25, $30 on a Snap-on socket, you're either going to be more responsible with your stuff and stop losing it, or you're just going to be sad. And I would rather be sad losing $2 than $30. But I get asked all the time, like, what are the best tools? I'm like, here's what I have. This is what I spent 15 years honing for fixing Volkswagens and Audis to be the absolute best I could find, in my opinion, for me. Your mileage may vary. That toolbox right over there has all the tools, not everything, but like most of the tools you need to do the basic stuff. You may get in it and use it and love it. I may pick up a Cobalt socket and go, the tighten loosen switch is backwards from everything else I have. Garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I usually don't throw them away. I give them away, but
you got to know yourself. It's funny that you make that comparison. It reminded me, I used to be a downhill skier, and I had this pair of Reichley sunglasses that cost me a good bit of money, where you could change the lenses based on the snow conditions. And my reasoning for this is I will take care of my sunglasses if I spend a lot of money on them. Totally left them on top of my car and drove off once and ran them over. Had the lenses, didn't have the glasses.
Yep.
So now I've learned I just get polarized sunglasses that can be run over, and I'm happy.
Can they really be run over and still like survive?
No, they can't. Okay. I totally wrecked them. Totally wrecked them and went to Walmart sunglasses that are polarized from then on out because there was just no point. But that was a value thing for you. My other ski gear is great because I don't lose my skis.
That was a value thing for you. You knew if I spend the high end money, it may not work out for me. So in that case, the cheap one was fine. Yeah,
cheap one's totally fine.
A lot of times that's not the case.
Right. It just depends on how that fits in your life, and that's really customized. Somebody here said they spent $2,100 on half a cow, grass finished. Right on. That's the best cow you'll ever eat once you learn how to cook it. People who've been cooking grain finished meat for so long, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it down, you get it down, as is the way it goes. Okay, any last words before we wrap up about just getting off your ass and starting the things you need to start? Like I would say, in light of the Ukraine situation, it's all the more reason to build stability in your life by taking control of your income, your food, your fuel, your housing, your relationships, all of that. That's a reason to do it, and do it not from a place of fear, but because you should have been doing it all the time. What are y'all's thoughts?
Well, that's exactly what we spent the last 2 years doing. I mean, there's evidence of that all around this place. Yesterday, I went and picked up 20 more beds because we're doing 20 more raised beds this year. And it also gives me content, and it gives me evidence of doing, I say all the time, a lot of people watch all the content provider guys, all the YouTube dudes, and you see a little sliver, right? You see these fitness dudes, and then you meet them, and they got this big, huge gut. It's always angles. It's like the fitness models. They're never what they look like. And I think that if you're in a position where people trust what you say and ask your advice, I think that there should be evidence. When they come to a thing here, all that shit we showed them, it's all here and still in motion.
Yep. Charles, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you're on the fence about doing something, get off the fence one way or the other. Either do it and don't be sorry about it. Give it all you got. Realize you're going to be terrible at it at first, whatever it is. Keep working. Usually people end up quitting right before things really take off for them.
Yep.
I found that when I'm like at my worst spot of like, you know, I put out like a couple of bad videos, or I got whatever negative thing happened, that's the time I get the most excited, because I know that I'm right at the edge of another milestone, of another thing. Things are about to go off. It's when things are doing really well, I start to get uneasy, because I'm like, okay, things are going great. I need to do something about that and keep that trend and not plateau. But get off the fence one way or the other. Either do it or quit talking about it, shelve it, and stop talking about it, because you're never going to do it. Just trust me when I tell you, if you knew what it was like to have the level of freedom that I assume the three of us have, or someone that does their own thing has, yes, work a ton of hours. Yes, always on the clock. But let me ask you guys this, John and Nicole, would you ever trade it to be an employee if there were any other option?
Nope.
No.
Not a chance.
If I had to be an employee again, I could make myself do it. And it would be with a temporary, I am making some coin to get my next thing going mindset. And probably even then I would figure out how to gig myself through whatever situation I had to. I can make $600 donating plasma. Start there.
If I had to be an employee,
go ahead.
If I had to be an employee, I would be the worst employee you could ever have, because I would be like, no, I don't think I want to do that right now. I want to do this other thing that I see is more important. And like having to ask someone's permission to take the day off to watch your kid play soccer, or the hour off to watch your kid play soccer. Imagine what your life would be if you had that level of freedom, how much better it really would be. And that's really like, when you're on the fence about this shit, like think about that. And I can tell you, it's better than you're thinking. Also, Jason, if you want to come off some of those Snap-on tools, let me know.
He actually has all those. He actually has all those. Make a choice, or somebody will make it for you.
Yeah. No choice is a choice. All right, guys. Charles, tell them how they can like check out your YouTube stuff too, because I don't know that we covered that at the beginning.
Yeah, swing over to YouTube and you can find all my videos at Humble Mechanic, or the fabulous site that our friend Nicole designed at humblemechanic.com, or anywhere else that you can find things. Probably I'm there. Oddly enough, Humble Mechanic.
Humble Mechanic. It's so consistent. Look at that. Look at you. Well, thanks everybody for joining in, and we'll see you next time.